spawning on Overgrowth in the bottom left-hand position as the blue Zerg player. Currently 1 game up in this bronze match. We have SortOf. His opponent in the top right, spawning as the red Protoss player representing Carnage Esports. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Eiki. Now, this isn't actually match point, guys, because it's a best of 5 rather than a best of 3. So, don't worry about it. Eiki's not 1 game away from bowing out of the tournament. He has plenty of chances to try and come back and win here, but SortOf obviously has the edge in this position. What kind of strategies can we expect from these players in game number 2? Last game, we saw all of the tech from SortOf, but he was allowed to get away with all of the tech because his creep spread was basically up to this point, right? And Eiki had a single warp prism that got denied, and that was kind of it. So I feel like SortOf was just in a really comfortable position. And it looks like we're going to be seeing a potential cannon effort here in game number 2 as well. There is the probe scout moving into the natural expansion. Here is the second drone to follow the probe around to see if it's actually going to happen. And this time, by the way, when the pylon finishes, we're immediately going to see a cannon because the forge will have completed by then. There's the first pylon. And it looks like SortOf's going to have to pull a couple more drones here by the looks of things. We've got 3 drones so far. And, well, drone's just trying to block locations where he thinks that the cannon is going to go down. And here comes the probe. There's cannon number 1. Are we going to see cannon? We are going to see cannon number 2. Cannon number 3. And all of a sudden, this is getting pretty hairy indeed. He can cancel that one and put another one down. Yep, good cancel there. 4th cannon and a lot of drones being pulled now. I think this is a lot more serious than the previous game. Still only the 1 pylon to power them all, by the way. But this potentially is looking very dangerous for SortOf. 1 cannon gets cancelled. The second one is very close to completing. Is he going to allow it to complete? All his shields are down, and he is going to allow it to complete. So, wow. 1 drone, 2 drones killed. 3 drones killed by that cannon. That first cannon is going to go down. The second cannon is going to go down now, but 3 of them are going to complete, and this cannon rush will successfully be able to take down this hatchery now. So the commitment this game has been a lot higher from Eiki. The timing on the forge a lot crisper, and this is going to allow him to get a lot of early game pressure out. SortOf's going to try and sneak a drone by, and he's actually going to be seen by this probe, and yep, he's following him out as well. But the 2 links should be able to stop that from happening. So this natural's definitely going down. Whether or not this drone's going to be able to put down a 3rd, I don't know. I think with the links here as well, it should be okay. But if the probe suicides to kill the drone... No, okay. If that drone went down, by the way, guys, that would have been so frustrating. It would have just delayed by so much. And he's going for the gold. I think he's going for the gold here. SortOf saying, right, you've cannon rushed me. This is annoying. I'm even supply blocked right now. He's actually going for the gold. Alright, this is happening. This is a pretty exciting match, and the players are definitely helping. So this is winner takes all, don't forget, guys. 250 euros on the line here. And SortOf is going for the gold after Eiki successfully cannon rushes the natural expansion early on here in game number 2. Queen slowly moving out towards the gold. Another drone moving that way as well. Ooh, needs to be a little bit careful. But only briefly goes within range of a single cannon. He's actually going to be taking his 3rd base anyway. Now, of course, as far as Eiki is concerned, he thinks that the original drone took his 3rd base. But he actually went up to the gold. So the deficit in terms of economics early game are going to be recouped very, very quickly by SortOf. Oh, he spots a big drone transfer, and to be honest, guys, that might be a tell that he's got the gold. Because why would you transfer that many drones from your main to your 3rd base? You must be transferring them to the gold, where they can simply harvest more minerals. So I wonder If that's enough to make Eiki think, hang on a second, I think this guy's going for the gold base here. We'll find out in just a bit. A probe scout is going to be coming out here to check the third base location. And the gold is now being taken. Lots of creep troopers being laid down because he wants to set up a massive defensive perimeter. It's a very, very open base. And he needs to be... Oh, wow, really? We have a probe here with the cannons potentially looking to warp more in. He's redoubling his efforts here, and he's very, very serious about not allowing his opponent to retake his natural. But he now knows that the gold base has been taken, and that SortOf doesn't actually need to be taking this natural expansion anytime soon. So with that in mind, is this going to get cancelled? I suspect it is, but we'll find out. I mean, this cannon could do a lot of damage to the queen, I suppose, but I think the queen is winning the fight given it's starting on no shields and half health. No, I stand corrected. Wow, I stand corrected, and SortOf obviously thought the same, but clearly not. I beg your pardon. I thought he might have been able to get a few more hits off of that, but that is not the case at all. Another cannon coming down now, and we are really starting to turn the pressure up. He wants to separate the main base entirely from the third and the gold, so that when he attacks the gold, all the larvae that come out of the main base are unable to move past without dealing with all the cannons. That is Eiki's idea right now. Let's see what kind of pressure he can apply there. We're starting off with the Phoenixes once again. We've got the robotics facility here. And, oh, I don't know. I mean, he's supply blocking Snute at the moment. It's really frustrating, because he went down to 54 out of 54. He's now at 62 out of 62. The Zerg player is being very, very frustrated here, and now we have the Phoenixes moving out towards the gold base location. There are 2 queens here, and there will be a spore crawler soon. So I don't really think much damage can be done here until the Phoenix numbers start getting reasonably high. But are we going to see a gateway explosion? It looks like we are. There are 3 more gateways. A robotics facility about to finish here. So what will this pressure do against the third base? And finally it looks like... Oh, nice micro on the roaches there. These cannons are going to be dealt with. But the Phoenixes doing their best to help out as well. And just constantly trying to deny allowing the units to pass by here unobstructed. This probe could even put in a couple more cannons now just to try and completely shut this down. The Phoenixes in the meantime are doing a great job on the roaches. I wonder if this is going to be followed up with an attack on the third. The gateways are about to complete, so we're going to see. We've got a warp prism coming in from Eiki as well, but those 2 cannons that crucially managed to catch sight of the units that are walking by are now dead, and the roach is going to come in to try and clean up the rest. I think he's just going to go for the pylon, because it means 3 cannons get stopped, and it looks like that's going to be the end of that. Okay. So 2 drones going down there, not that many. 48 to 49 is the work supply right now, but the gold has been mining for a while for SortOf, and that does change the complexion of the game very, very much indeed. If you're a Zerg player, you're going to be a lot happier with that. Trying to kill off a single queen with these Phoenixes. Decent micro, but the spore crawler is going to get at least one of them. And not 100% sure that was worth it, because that was a spare queen at that base anyway. And we've got a good amount of creep spread moving out towards the watchtower here from SortOf. I really like that. In the meantime, a single Zergling going to be tasked with killing off these photon cannons, so not really... are we going to pick it up as well and leave them alive so that you can put another pylon there? That'd be brilliant. We have another run by inside the main base. A decent number of zealots, actually. Oh, going to kill off a queen and a good force field to limit the movement of the drones there, but that actually limits the zealots just a little bit, forcing the zealots to move back. And now that these roaches are out, I think he should be okay. The War Prism, though, is doing a great job using the sentries to block out the additional roaches. The problem is, with this Spore Crawl and the roaches combined, I don't actually think Eiki can continue to sustain this. These zealots are now just trying to get as many worker kills as possible. Here come the roaches, here come the lings, and they should successfully stop it. Another Spore Crawler going down just to be sure, and the War Prism coming back towards the gold base, but not actually doing any damage this time around. SortOf supplies now 119 versus 99, by the way. So, continuing to do good work. There is the third Nexus, Carnage Esport logo being plastered over the north side of the map on Overgrowth. Extended Thermal Lance is complete for our Protoss player. Now, don't forget, we have had games where once you get up to small numbers of those multiple colossi, you have got timings where you just crush through what the Zerg currently has. But I think those timings might be accelerated a little bit by the fact that we've been mining from the gold for so long. So I'm personally unconvinced that such a timing would work in this particular game. Eiki started with a cannon rush and invested a lot of minerals, and then SortOf is trying to claw back the deficit, and in my opinion has clawed back the deficit with taking back gold and being very happy mining from it. So for that reason, I don't think Eiki can push out super soon. There's always the possibility that, you know, a Protoss army just does amazingly well with good force fields, good zoning of units, and 3 Colossi here. I dread to think what kind of damage he could do, but it is a lot harder to accomplish it in this game than in a game where SortOf doesn't have the gold. I think that much is certain. Alright. Main base starting to look a little bit bare of minerals. We want to be transferring a couple more over to the third base very soon indeed. Gateway explosion happening here, and we are going to be seeing more and more units produced, more Void Rays and more Colossi. Now if there's going to be a timing, I suspect it might be with +2 here for Eiki, and I think by that point he's going to have 4 Colossi, possibly 5. Oh, possibly 4 if that one goes down. Prismatic alignment on these Void Rays. It looks like SortOf is going to be the first one to try and engage, and fantastic force fields from SortOf. From Eiki rather, kills off a lot of this army, and this is a very, very firm round 1 victory going to Eiki here. Those sentries don't have that much energy left, but he absolutely decimated what the Zerg threw at him. And the resources lost currently about twice as much for SortOf, but he is on 4 bases soon, and he has had the gold. So I think we have to see a little bit more damage than this made by Eiki. There's no observer with this army. Notice how these creep troopers are not currently being taken out, and he realizes that. He's making an observer now. I think he wants to clear up the creep as he goes. We have another attack inside the main base thanks to the War Prism, but these Zealots are just going to be destroyed here by the Roaches and Hydras. The War Prism can't get too close, unfortunately, because the Hydralisk might be able to take it out. And here we go. This is the attack against the gold base, but it has been mining for so long. Look at this. The gold minerals are actually nearly mined out right now. SortOf's done a great job of emptying this base. The army is going to try and flank. It's actually flanking from both sides and immediately using the opportunity to recall. I like that decision. I think he killed off a decent number of workers, but not a really big number. Let's take a look at what the total for the game is. 29, and don't forget a lot of them were in the main base earlier versus 3. So there's still a lot of workers here at the gold base, and good amount of pressure. But I think Eiki needs to attack from a position where he can't be flanked from multiple sides. Really, you want to see him come up here, potentially force field the ramp, and just engage in one direction if he wants to take this hatchery out. We've now got a potential counterattack coming out here from SortOf. Moving out across the center now, we have half of the army towards the third, and the other half just kind of chilling at the watchtower, trying to bait that Protoss death ball one way right now. Unable to quite kill off that pylon in the middle. We'll be able to get the one at the edge. There's the photon overcharge baited out, and here come the Zerglings and the Hydralisk trying to move into the natural expansion. That's not going to be a good idea because these units are so squishy. 2 force fields kill off quite a lot of them right now, and a pylon does actually get picked off here, but that's about it. No real economical damage. And SortOf at the moment is struggling to deal damage to Eiki. He's up to 186 supply versus 193 to be fair, so it's fairly even in that regard. But Eiki seems to be able to hold his 3 bases very, very comfortably well. I mean, if you have your army in this position, you can defend there, you can defend here easily on overgrowth. So it's always going to be a little bit difficult. We've now got these High Templars, and they do have Storm, ladies and gentlemen, available. 2 more Stargates coming down now, going into the end game. These Colossi need to be a little bit careful. I feel like they're slightly in no man's land, but killing off these units going to allow him, I think, to take this fourth and just comfortably hold it. So these Roaches aren't going to be able to force that fourth to cancel. The rest of this army does get killed off, and Eiki now at 179 supply versus 175 with even upgrades is going to be marching out across the map. This is a potentially dangerous situation to be in. Enduring Locus is being researched by SortOf, so he's going to be going for those Swarm Host. The number he has out on the field right now, 14, so you know that's sizable. He's been making these all the while he's been sacking those Roaches, but there's a decent amount of DPS here. For example, one or two storms followed by those Colossi beams mean that he might be able to march on top of those swarm hosts if he's not careful. There they are. They are in the Valley of Death, if you like. And this is a very dangerous position for the Protoss to be in. A nice abduct there on the Colossus. The swarm host should be able to pick him off, and they do. But the firepower, the units to back them up just aren't here right now. There's a lot of static defense, actually. He's going to have to use a lot of that. The Hydra's coming in. But look at how much damage these Colossi can do to them. Very dangerous situation for both players. The Valley of Death now, Eiki is in it. These Colossi doing such a big job, and he's going to be moving into the natural expansion. I think he's saying, I don't want to go through this massive mound of static defense, so why can't I just attack here instead? And he's actually moving off of creep, perhaps just wanting to regroup, get a couple more Colossi out, noting that the Vipers are there. Perhaps just saving energy and waiting to go for round 2. But that was actually okay for Eiki. He's got a decent bank now building up, 2k and 1.4k in minerals and gas. And he's slowly thinking about moving further forward. Blink is complete now as well. Mothership Core has a lot of energy attached to it too. And there have been no counterattacks from SortOf in the recent past. Also, this is still Heart of the Swarm, so luckily Locust cannot fly. So, yeah, we'll see who ends up emerging victorious here. He needs to really start clearing the creep spread, and I think with the Observer with this army, he's going to be able to do that towards the Watchtower. But really, I'm not sure what direction Eiki is currently targeting. He needs to decide if he wants to kill the gold base, kill the natural, etc. And what sort of tech structures he's really aiming for in this game. Because right now, it feels like he's just waiting to kind of... Oh, excellent feedbacks on all 3 Vipers there. No abducts for you. Massive miss micro coming out of SortOf. And this could end up being a problem. I think he has an opportunity to try and push into the static defense now. Those Vipers had so little energy. I'd love to see some storms in this area while the Colossi push in. But at the moment, he's still clearing creep. He's giving the Vipers a chance to sort of regroup in terms of the energy available. The Void Rays will be able to kill off the hatchery that was at the gold. Good force fields pick apart those locusts and allow a staggered approach of damage to be done to them. 2 more spires coming up, or rather 2 spires coming up for those upgrades from SortOf now inside his main base. I think he's moving into the same kind of late game idea that he did last game, but bear in mind, his creep spread is good, but it's not quite as advanced. And also in the last game, he basically held Eiki to 3 bases. The 5th base at the gold is being taken now, guys. So this is a much better situation for the Protoss than we saw last game. Locust now, okay, there we go. We have an abduct into... Okay, we need a second abduct to kill off that Colossus, fair enough. The High Templars are still looking for opportunities to try and feed back these Vipers. A couple of Zealots as sacrificial lambs at the front of this army are going to go down to the Locust here. And, well, I mean, SortOf, he's got +3 attack on them, so that's an awful lot of damage from a free unit as well. He has to be a little careful how he chooses to do that. A Dark Shrine is going to be added into the mix now from Eiki to try and do a bit of harassment damage in the back. I love the idea of the Dark Shrine. I think it's just going to be so frustrating. Just have a random DT sort of absolutely destroying your day. Cannot complain about that at all. But the Swarm Hosts do have to be dealt with. And I'm concerned, really, because if Eiki thinks he can dance around the Swarm Host rather than deal with them head up, then, well, then I think he might be in for a shock when the numbers just get so huge and they get close enough to his base that they start killing off infrastructure. I mean, you can't really allow that as a Protoss player. So let's see what he ends up doing here. That's a lot of Locusts coming towards this army, and there are the abducts. Okay, that's excellent. And Eiki now, I feel, is starting to lose a little bit of momentum here. He's got a lot of Nexi being taken, but this gold base is also definitely getting taken out as well. And there's nothing he can do about it. This Nexus, well, that's looking pretty exposed as well. If the Hydras can do that, then I dread to think what they can do on the other parts of the map as well. This army is relatively immobile because you have to wait for the Mothership, you have to wait for the Tempests, and you have to wait for the Void Rays to catch up. So it's good to exploit them with those Hydras, and there are enough Swarmers on the field now that these Locusts are a credible threat. You need that Mothership to deal with them, and once it dies, once you have those Abducts and those Corruptors handy, It makes it very difficult for this army to be in multiple places at once unless you can non-stop recall. And you don't want to be non-stop recalling, you just have a finite amount of energy. So I love the way SortOf is playing this game out. Eiki, though, he still does have that base advantage compared to the previous game. +1 shields now coming in. He's also got +2 air weapons coming out as well. So he's upgrading a lot of stuff, and this Death Ball army is going to be very, very scary. On the other hand, however, we're preparing, I think, potentially for a massive air transition coming out of here from SortOf. Might even consider lots of run-bys and Mutalisks. Goodness knows what he wants to go into later on. Double Oracle being produced from the Stargate. This is interesting indeed. Is he saying that, hang on a second, all of your units are going to be light because I'm just trying to find units to complement my Tempests here, and therefore I'm just going to get Oracles and try and decimate absolutely everything? It could be a thing. Here come the Vipers, here come the Corruptors. Oh, and they definitely are not doing very much just yet. They need to be able to abduct and kill the Mothership core. Mothership, rather. Before anything else happens, unless he has fungal growth, something like that. But I feel like a lot of Vipers are going to come in useful in this scenario. This air Protoss transition here is looking quite scary, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Colossi potentially look like the weak link. These Oracles are going to be able to absolutely decimate sort of any backup lings or light armored units on the ground, potentially including Locusts. We do have Infestors, though, and fungal growth is going to be a massive, massive friend here for SortOf. He needs to stay strong right now. Both sides are kind of maxed out. It's 3-1 versus 3-1, but we've got the +1 shield upgrade as well for the Protoss player, as well as +2 air attacks. Extremely dangerous situation. More next side going down. He's retaking his gold base as well. And in the meantime, SortOf just continuing to push in with Swarm Host. Nice fungal growth on a lot of those units, but the follow-up wasn't able to kill any of them off. And now he's slowly pushing forward with these Tempests against those static defenses here. SortOf is going to have to come up with an answer. He's going to have to come up with an answer soon. There are the abducts on the Mothership, and really, really nice instant recall from the Mothership means they can fight again very, very quickly indeed. A couple of the Tempests go down. However, that was pretty slick. Where is the Mothership? Where is the Mothership? Did he recall to a different base? He did recall to a different base. He went back into his main. Okay. So 32 minutes, guys, in game number 2 here. And this is looking pretty tense. Triple Tempest coming out. Triple Tempest. We've got +3 air weapons coming in. We have shield upgrade coming in. And the Mothership, once again, protects her flock. But it needs to do a better job than just protecting, because if you don't put a dent in this guy's ambitions, then he's going to come at you hammer and tongs, and can afford to just chuck units from the Swarm Host at you for a very, very long time, and that's not what you want as a Protoss player. Right now, I'd have to say SortOf, he's as snug in a bug in a rug, because he has control over the entirety of the southern part of the map. His Swarmers are going to very, very slowly wrest control of the north from Eiki, and just slowly choke him out over the course of the game, I think. Where are his Swarm Host bases at the moment? There they are. They're still in the Valley of Death. I'd like to see them move up a little bit, maybe towards a static defense in some position like here, where you've got all the Spore Crawlers and Spine Crawlers ahead, so that he can actually take out this gold base if he wanted to. Eiki is the person now who's going to be pushing forward just a little bit. A lot of Locusts here. They haven't done any real damage just yet. He's sort of gathering his units underneath the Mothership, and unfortunately invisibility means that there's really not much they can do at all, and that also means the SortOf is going to be able to very, very slowly trade space for time as Eiki's moving forward. The problem is when you have things like these Tempests attacking the hatcheries from such a massive distance away, there's only so much you can do. And right now they're just picking apart bases, sniping them one at a time. And it looks like SortOf wants to try and pick a fight with this, but seems to be unable to do so. A lot of Tempests here. And really tricky situation for the Zerg player right now. We have, though, got Locusts against this base on the right-hand side, so the right idea being executed. Will it be fast enough, though? We need to be careful. Those Locusts, I mean, you know, they don't have infinite life. They're not going to last forever. And the Swarm Hosts, they're far enough back that they only get a couple of seconds of attacking time against the enemy forces. That's really the problem right now. They're not actually surviving longer than a couple of seconds once they hit the Protoss army, as long as Eiki falls back a little. So I'd love to see a little bit more of an offensive posturing with the Swarm Host. Look at this. We're now killing off the pylon. We're going to try and kill off the cannon, and oh, they're gone. Because they're just a little bit too far away. So I kind of want to see the Swarm Host inch closer. Eiki, on the other hand, he's got a very, very scary air Protoss army. I feel like if SortOf ignores it and just tries and wins the battle on the ground, then the Tempest will eventually just plow through all the static defense without taking any damage. So he has to be very, very careful there. An Overseer will be able to park itself right on top of those Dark Templars, just in case no one's actually seen it. Locust able to take care of that. And wow, that's a lot of Tempests, guys. I don't think I've seen 18 Tempests in a game for quite a while, but it's going to happen here in game number 2 of this best of 5. And now the Swarm Hosts are attacking a little bit closer to the Nexus. Unfortunately, not even able to kill off an Assimilator just yet, because to be honest, he doesn't need to. So let's see what else happens here. We have some infested Terrans trying to kill off this Nexus, unable to do so. And more Locusts coming over here as well. Wow, that's a lot of damage from the Tempest, actually. And unfortunately, that's not going to work. A lot of Oracles coming in with this composition as well. So the Void Rays going out. The Colossi getting replaced there. Very, very strange. We have a Tempest. We basically have a Tempest Oracle kind of composition. And the Oracle will be able to grant vision so that the Tempest can do maximum damage as well. So, you know, that's pretty good. And the creep is now starting to rescind into Snute's own half of the map. The mothership is protecting her flock. These Locusts will not be able to get any damage done. And we're starting to move forward. We've got the Revelation now being cast onto a lot of this static D. And I feel like the Tempests are going to be able to start hurling long distance abuse at these Zerg structures. So we'll keep that in mind, and we'll watch the continuation of this game as it moves forward. Very, very tense here. SortOf at the moment trying to go 2-0 up. Eiki trying to even the score at 1-0. He's got a ridiculously scary Protoss endgame army. He's got 5,500 minerals in the bank. He's got 1,500 gas in the bank, and admittedly gas is going to be the main factor here. Notice that this base no longer has a Vespene Geyser, and I actually think these might end up killing the Nexus here. So really, getting the gas to an affordable level in order to remax your units is going to be so important here. Unfortunately, that base is going to go down. You can see how he's mining gas from everything else. And what is going wrong in the middle of the map for SortOf, and how can he fix it? All he's doing is constantly sending Locusts, which aren't killing anything here. He needs to be preparing for something else, and he's moving them backwards. He's potentially waiting for the Infestors. The Infestors do actually have full energy, by the way, so sick fungal growth potentially incoming. But these Tempests do so much damage. They're picking away at this static defense. This right-hand side in the gold base doesn't seem to exist anymore. We have the 4th base now up and mining. And I just wonder at what point SortOf is going to be able to engage this. I don't know the answer to that question because this army is so frightening. I feel like if you get the sickest fungal growths ever, you should be able to chain fungal this army because they're all huddling down under the mothership just to be invisible. But that's kind of the only way I see Zerg winning quickly in this position, which is chain fungaling so many units that they all end up dying. And the bank is instantly blown for Eiki. Don't really know if that's going to happen. He's still just kind of sitting on creep. What do you guys think is going to happen in this game? Make sure you tweet me at JoRoSaR and tweet at NorCraft Cup as well. This is pretty tense, and we're going into the 41st minute, pardon me. And, well, more queens now being taken apart. And Eiki, I mean, he needs to think about taking bases apart, really. It's great that he's striking fear into the heart of his opponent, but if he's not making real damage known, then that could be very, very... he's really just stalling for time until he gets a bigger bank. He's now up to almost 9k, 2.3k, but he needs to mine more gas, and guess what? He doesn't have this base anymore. In fact, he's got creep on it as well, which can be very frustrating. Locust group, once again, saying hello, chilling out next to this mothership and her army. And, wow, this game's really, basically stalemate so far. SortOf now, he's trying a Ling run-by on the top right-hand side. I like this a lot, and a lot of workers are going down, but he needs to focus on the workers that are mining gas right now, in my opinion. Oh, and we have potentially a big engagement here. No, it's actually just a bunch of locusts on the mini-map. So these Zerglings doing an incredible job, and only now pulling the probes. So the probe count at the moment is 36 to 41 drones. And we have got the army coming back to try and deal with this as well. There are just way, way too many Protoss things at the moment in order to contemplate winning that fight. So where does Elki go from here? 8.2k, 1.7k, retaking this space, probably needs to mine a bit more gas. And needs to get that in the bank. SortOf, 192 supply, 4.7k, 1.4k, has a lot of swarm hosts. He's got a total of 23 of them out on the field. But how can he use them offensively? So far, that's not actually happening. And not actually happening is a dangerous, dangerous phrase right now. He's managing to pick off the gold base, which is great, but he needs his army to deal with the root problem, and that's not happening right now. DTs are actually trying their best to pick off the static defense. Unfortunately, Spoil Crawlers can see invisible units, so it's going to be a little difficult there. Will the gold base get cancelled, actually, this time for Eiki? Yeah, he has to. I mean, yes, okay, they're dying now, but you don't want to be losing a third of your health every time a wave of Locust comes in. That's just... that's just asking for trouble, in my opinion. So, we'll see. We have the Locust coming in now, trying to kill off this particular hull. And it looks like the Nexus is going to complete on about 50% hit points. That's a little bit of a bold move for Eiki. Oh, and the one on the right-hand side also being Zergling run-by. There's a DT and a Zealot to try and kill these guys off. Will he be able to do it in time? It looks like he will. Nice multitasking coming into there from SortOf, but that's like the first aggression we've seen him for quite some time. This Nexus is on 53 hit points, guys. If these guys walk past, they're going to kill it. He actually has to kill off these Locusts, otherwise they will get the Nexus, and he's not doing it at the moment. He's going for the all-out attack. These Locusts at the moment are attacking this assimilator, allowing this Nexus to get some shields regenerated, but Eiki looks like he's moving in for a kill right now. And, well, he's only got the Mothership core, no longer has the Mothership, of course, abducted and taken apart earlier, but this Nexus, that assimilator, is basically buffering the distance between those Locusts and this Nexus right now. So he has to decide what he's doing very, very quickly, does SortOf. And this is a very, very scary army. 24 Tempests, 10 Void Rays, 4 Oracles right now. And that's against 23 Swarm Hosts, 5 Infestors, 28 Corruptors, and 4 Vipers. Oh! And here we go. It looks like the beginnings of a big engagement here. A whole bunch of those Tempests have actually been taken out. Thanks to the Vipers abducting. Eiki's going to have to dip into his infinitely rich pockets of Protoss to try and come back from that. I suspect he'll be able to. And oh no, there goes the Nexus. There is no way it can survive now. And there goes the gas at the gold base as far as our Protoss is concerned. So, that's a problem for Eiki here. He really wants to get that gas. He's got plenty of minerals in the bank, but he needs to make sure he can get the gas from somewhere. And if he can't get it from his half of the map, he's probably going to have to get it from his opponent's half of the map, which is way, way more offensive. Risky, rather. And this Nexus has gone down as well, so dealing with the Swarmers nowhere near as effectively as he could have. Eiki just isn't being aggressive right now, and that's a problem, because he's back down to 4 bases. We have 6 bases here for SortOf, I guess if you count the former gold base. So, yes, the Nexi are being reproduced, but they're constantly getting taken out as well. It's just such a difficult situation to be in. The air army now is moving out towards the right-hand side. Are we going to see more abducts? We kind of have to here, but there are 21 Tempests. Isn't that insane? I mean, there are so many of them right now. Here come the Oracles. Hang on a second. He needs to be careful about that. And, well, I think with Revelation, on these Spore Crawlers, he can kind of sit around and try and kill off some of the static defense. But Eiki, he's actually being really conservative right now. This is tricky. Oh, picking off the Nexus once again. I wouldn't be surprised if he went for this one next as well. Looks like a single probe there, biting the dust. And here are the Locusts. They're going to take that Nexus on the right-hand side. This army is so strong, but it's so strong and so immobile, and he's not using it to attack. He's only been using this army to defend. So for that reason, I don't think Eiki is particularly favored in this position. If he's not moving on to creep and not committing to anything, then how is he going to be able to stop his opponent just non-stop sending those Locusts in? He can't. There is the Nexus once again. It might go down this time. Oh! 13 hit points! And we have a counterattack. Some Zealots over here at the third base location. We're trying to move in with the air army, but he's just being so slow about it. We're into the 50th minute of this game. 13 hit points. Well, it's alright. I got some shields now, buddy. Oh, and those Locusts so close to doing damage here. These Zealots will get finished by a bunch of infested Terrans, which interestingly have no upgrades on them. And every single upgrade is about to get researched by Eiki. 2, 1, 0. Look at this, guys. +3 armor, +3 weapons, +3 shields, +3 air armor, and +3 air weapons. He's literally got all of the upgrades for all of his units. And, oop, the mothership gets taken apart. They're unable to recall itself. And the rest of the army is now continuing to move forward. Is this going to be a potential game-ending battle here for one side or the other? Because don't forget, SortOf is 1,000 gas, Eiki is 600. Neither of these players have the gas to completely recreate their armies from scratch right now, even though they both have a lot of minerals. So what's going to happen here? SortOf, currently he's just sitting pretty, and he's saying, I've got Swarm Hosts, what are you going to do? But I actually think Eiki's the one currently making the most progress, which is a bit worrying, because you would think SortOf is just comfortable in this position, and that he knows he just has to take 1 or 2 engagements that are really good for him, and as long as his opponent can't remax, then he wins the game. I want to see more Ling run-bys though. I want to see units sort of moving up to this top left-hand side, trying to pick off the cannons. He's got the upgrades to potentially do it. He's got well, he's got 3-3 on melee, and he's also got 3-3 on ranged. Oh, pardon me, no, he's got +2 armor, but +3 armor is about to complete in just under 10 seconds. So our Zerg player will also have all of the upgrades, and I expect to see something shortly. We're in the 53-minute mark, and we're going to be going into a 1-hour game. This is absurd right now. Both players are just being really conservative, guys. SortOf has spent the last 20 minutes doing nothing but sniping next side with these Locusts. That's all he's doing. He's preventing this gold base from going down. He's preventing this base on the right-hand side from going down. Eiki has done nothing but posture around the middle of the map, occasionally picking apart creep. He's basically taking creep tumors and spore crawlers out in the middle of the map here. The map is very split. We've had the one Zealot run by, which, to be fair, he could go down here, but oh, that looks like an unwelcome sight for 4 Zealots. I don't actually think, even with all the upgrades, he's going to be able to do very much with that. And I guess neither player really wants to have some sort of final engagement here. The Mothership Core is here protecting this Nexus. Let me tell you, with the number of Locusts I've seen in this game, the Mothership Core is not going to be able to protect it on her own. More and more Tempests as part of this army composition. We have Oracles for the reveal and Tempests to do the long-term damage. And we are very slowly pushing out across the map right now. Here is the air army for SortOf. There are the Vipers. There are the Abducts. Great reveal, actually, on that army of Corruptors as well. So is Eiki just going to get back to work now, continuing to pick off the Spore Crawlers? It looks like he is. He's trying to tempt SortOf into saying, look, mate, you're actually going to have to attack me at some point soon. You're going to have to try and use your Vipers to pull all of my units in, because otherwise you're not going to have enough static defense to pull me into. And this is a frustrating situation for SortOf to be in, because he has had Revelation cast on so many of those units. Both players know exactly where each other are, and as soon as they get within range of the Tempest, that happens, as you can see. So more and more of the Spore Crawlers are getting picked apart now, and finally Eiki's making some progress against this base over here in the bottom left. What? Oh my god. 44,500 versus 46,000 resources lost in this game, guys. We might end up mining out Overgrowth at this rate, and SortOf, he's coming in, he's thinking about it, but he's so... I'll tell you what he's worried about. He can pick apart the Tempests, but the Void Rays are going to do so much damage to the Corruptors. He's not sure if he can finish them off in time. And we do have to be careful, because remaxing is very dangerous for the Zerg player. Eiki has 290 gas right now. He cannot remax this army. If he loses this army, he loses the game. Because he's basically going to have to remax on gateway units. And SortOf coming in looking like he wants to do a bit of a round 2. And he's coming in for the engagement. Here comes Prismatic Alignment on all of those Void Rays. Wow, that Queen is toast. And more and more of these units are just going down. He's very close, actually, to picking off all the Spore Crawlers as well. Here we go. Are we going to see Fungal Growths as well? Great Fungals on the Void Rays. Is it going to be enough? We need follow-ups here. Massive engagement. I don't know who's winning this fight. I'm looking at the supplies. 169 supply for Eiki. He needs the Void Rays to be able to kill the Corruptors. And those infested Terrans, if they kill off the Void Rays, I feel like the Tempests are naked to fire from the Corruptors here, and it looks like he's going to have to move back. There's no Mothership Core. There is no recall here. There's a single Void Ray with this army, and the Corruptors are moving in. So many of the Tempests are going down, and there's 100 gas available for Eiki. Unless he remaxes on 200, 3 Zealots at this point, which he basically has to do with his bank. I think this is a great trade for SortOf, but as soon as I say that, look what I've noticed. SortOf, he's back up to 150 supply, but he's broke. He's got 100 minerals and 100 gas. This game is ridiculous. We're at 58 minutes and 40 seconds right now, and oh my goodness, what units do these guys have? 16 Tempests remain on the map. Number of Corruptors, 11 Corruptors still remain. We've got 23 Swarm Hosts, so the ground army is still very strong for the Protoss. Are the Tempests going to be able to kill off the Corruptors in time? 9 Corruptors are left. He has to turn around and try and fight these. He doesn't want the Infestors to become involved. The Mothership Core is here as well. And it's down to 7 Corruptors. So, advantage once again to Protoss. All the Void Rays are gone, but there aren't enough Corruptors to take advantage of that. This is ridiculous. We have a Ling run by now, but conveniently, the one unit you can warp in forever and a day as the Protoss player right now are Zealots. I say that. He's actually just gone down to 700 minerals. It's 130 supply versus 114 supply. These Zealots are... Oh, they're actually going to kill off all of these Spine Crawlers? It looks like they might. And 333 units are just so bloody powerful in this game. That Queen is going to go down, but... Oh. Well, that's the party, and... Oh, never mind, he's gone. And the Queen thought she was safe, but it was like, no, sir. GG! And game number 2, after 1 hour and 26 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, goes to Carnage Esports Eiki. He forces a game 3 here. What a remarkable game.